football here on the SportsMax Zone. Round 13 of La Liga is upon us, and here is how the fixtures look for this weekend. Espanyol at home to Granada, Celta Vigo at home to Barcelona, Alaves they play Levante, Real Madrid will be up against Rayo Vallecano, Villarreal they face Getafe, Valencia at home to Atletico Madrid, Mallorca they play Elche, Osasuna at home to Real Sociedad, and Sevilla will be seeing Real Betis. Without a doubt, most eyes will be fixed on the match between Celta Vigo and Barcelona. 9th place Barca will be without Ousmane Dembele, who is out due to injury. They will, however, go into the game in high spirits as news broke earlier on Friday that club legend Xavi has signed on as head coach, replacing Ronald Koeman, who was sacked last Thursday. Well, here with us to preview round 13 is our football analyst, Juan G. Arango. Welcome.
Hey, how are you, Mariah? I'm glad to be on the show and looking forward to the preview.
Definitely. So, my first question to you, Xavi, Barcelona, how does he fit? Do we expect drastic turnaround like Thomas Tuchel?
Thomas Tuchel had something to work with. That's the difference. Thomas Tuchel was able to come in and be able to help maximize some play. Will Xavi be able to do that? Probably. I think so. Xavi comes in with a bit more familiarity as to what the situation is. Not only that, he comes in with something that Ronald Koeman did not have, obviously, because it was a different president that ended up hiring him. He has unanimous support of Barcelona, the president, and the board. So that does give you a little bit more credit, a little bit more leeway to be able to work and also demand on the other end some players come to transfer market if there is money at that point. And also during the summer transfer window, if there is money to be able to do that as well. So we start looking at all these things. One thing that you have to keep in mind is that he comes in and he sees who's up top. He doesn't have Samuel Eto'o. He doesn't have Thierry Henry. He doesn't have Luis Suarez. He doesn't have Antoine Griezmann. He has Luc de Jong.
Yeah, so he already has his work cut out for him. My other question to you is, how does he transition from the level that he was coaching to now Barcelona? Because we know what these Barca fans expect. They're used to winning trophies. They expect to win. How does he make that transition, and will it be an easy transition for him?
No, it's not going to be an easy transition. It absolutely is not. It's the demands times 5,000, 50,000 if you want. The criticism times 100,000, a million if you want. And that's going to be something different. He's used to the criticism, yes, as a player. But everything that Xavi did as a player, Xavi would get criticized or hailed over. Now, everything Xavi does is going to be criticized whether he imposes it or the player doesn't execute it. That's the big issue. That's going to be the big change that he's going to have to endure with. That, again, being said, you have a team that you can't expect them to contend. Maybe to contend for La Liga, maybe to contend for the Copa del Rey. That is a realistic expectation. Now, when you start reading a lot of people, Joan Gaspar, the former Barcelona president in particular, ended up saying the other day, well, with Xavi, we're going to win the treble this year. We're going to win the league, we're going to win the cup, we're going to win Champions League. And I think that's where Barcelona fans end up kind of going off the deep end when it comes to him. And to finally answer your question in terms of how long or what kind of adaptation, it's a huge adaptation. It's a drastic adaptation that he's going to have to take from going to Qatar, where he basically had no pressure, being an ambassador even, to going to one of the clubs where you have the eye of the media and sometimes even of the media world on you 24 hours a day.
Juan, of all the coaches, well, let me start it differently. Talk to me about the style issue that Barcelona will look to satisfy or even correct when Xavi comes in, because Barcelona is one of those clubs with an identification, an identity and a style that there is no compromise on it. The fans want the style first before everything else, because they will not accept winning the treble playing ugly football. Almost all of the clubs would accept that. Barcelona will boo their coach and their team if they win playing ugly. They have to play the Barcelona way. Now, Xavi, of all of those who came under the tutelage in some way of the late, great Johan Cruyff, he's the only one, if you draw a line from Pep through to Luis Enrique, even through to Ronald Koeman, who, while he played when Cruyff was active and was coaching him, he never learned coaching from Cruyff. Do you think that will have an impact on the way Xavi adapts his own style while keeping and staying true to the Barcelona identity as forged by Johan Cruyff?
He didn't learn coaching from Johan Cruyff, but he was very close to Johan Cruyff while Cruyff was with the team. Let's keep that in mind. I mean, Xavi left 6 years ago. His last match happened to be the Champions League final where they beat Juventus. But throughout his process as a player, he was very familiar with Cruyff, not as a coach, but as an advisor, someone that would come in every so often and talk to the players. He would have conversations with him all the time. He would have conversations with him and Pep and many of the other former Barcelona players that still were involved in one function or another. So he knows exactly what Cruyff is about. Now, the question is, can you execute Cruyff football, or the way that Cruyff would execute it, as many would say, with this team? That's the big question. I mean, it's great to say, I can write like Shakespeare, I want to write like Shakespeare, but if I don't have the language capacity to do it, it doesn't really make any difference. It's not going to come out the same way. Now, it is a player that can, or a coach that can go back to that, because if there's one thing Barcelona has lost throughout the past few years, based on the adaptations that they've had to make, based on the age of some of the players, that they couldn't play the same way that they did back in 2009, is that Xavi is a coach that can go back to that style, because Luis Enrique lost a little bit of it, went more vertical, and with every coach after that, you lost a little bit of that identity. So it could be a return, but the big question is, with this group of players, can end up being a regression.
And on that point, final question for you, off field now, because it's funny, Manchester United and Ed Woodward are mocked for having sponsors for everything, but that's why they have so much money, because the commercial department really works. Barcelona, now that Xavi is in place, unanimous selection coach, unlike Koeman, we all know that story. And perhaps it is that sponsors weren't willing to touch Barcelona with a 200-foot barge pole because of the unsettling nature of the appointment and not everybody happy with the coach. Now they have a coach in place that everybody is happy with. Does this now make the job of the commercial department a little bit easier in bringing in the revenue that can allow him to spend in January and start shaping the squad that will launch a full assault on the La Liga title and Champions League in seasons to come?
There's an interesting thing that you mentioned there, and it's a very valid one. Is Xavi going to be able to help bring in the money? Not really. It all depends on one thing and one thing only. Yeah, you can talk about style, you can talk about everything, but if Barcelona are mired in the middle of the table, if they're out of Champions League, maybe fighting for Europa League, sponsors aren't going to come flocking to Barcelona. Let's put that in context. Now, there are sponsors, there are projects. I mean, Barcelona are establishing a whole line of NFTs that they're about to start selling, being able to involve fans more abroad and things of that nature, to feel more attached and be able to be more involved in the decision making and the investment process of Barcelona. But with all of that in mind, are they coming in? Does it make the commercial aspect more easier? It might, to a certain extent, because you do have an association with Qatar, part of the reason why they didn't have to pay the entire rescission fee for Xavi's clause. So you do have some involvement with Qatar, with the Qatari government, with Al Sadd, and many other entities within Qatari football. So that does help out a little bit. In terms of a complete answer, to a certain extent, it does help. But at the end of the day, results are the ones that bring in the sponsors that you end up looking at.
For sure, but I'm sure it's a different thing going to someone to pump several million euros into the club when he knows you have a manager who you don't want and who you're looking to try to get enough funds to get rid of, as opposed to going to the potential commercial partner with a manager that is in for the long haul. That's a totally different conversation, and it's from that perspective that the commercial arm will be able to work a lot better with Xavi in place compared to Koeman.
It could, but at the end of the day, it's all about winning. And if they're not winning, and if they're not in Champions League, it's not going to help out much.
Hear you on that. Thank you for your time, my friend. All the best.
Take care.
Good. Yeah, so the Xavi is in place. So here's the thing. If Juan, of course, with the point about the place, the position of the team and the performance, that of course is the most attractive draw for a potential commercial partner. But it's a hell of a lot of different conversation. Just think about it. When you go to someone to say, look, we want to engage you on a 15 million euro partnership, and we wanted to commit for 3 years. And he said, commit for 3 years with what? You have a manager. You want my 15 million euros to pay a 12 million euro compensation package for the manager you've been trying to get rid of for the last 5 months, that you've been briefing against in the media every day.
Yes.
And I'm not so keen at this time. As opposed to, oh, I see you have your golden boy back and he's here for what, a 5-year project? Sign us up and put us in a clause for another 5 years after that. Different conversation. And Barcelona, the reason the commercial aspect is an issue. Barca can't improve the squad without money.
No,
they cannot,
and they
because
have no money. All I think when I think Barca is dead.
yeah, and there isn't the talent in the La Masia, the academy, to come forward to help Xavi get where he wants to go. So from January, he'll have to buy 1 or 2 good players.
With what?
Immediately.
And with what? With the commercial revenue that he's going to generate.
Yeah.
Immediately.
Yeah.
And then he'll have to look to finish best of all for the rest of the season.
Yeah.
And then in the summer, go back.
Very keen to see what he will do, George and Mariah, because he's still a young person. He's only 41 years old.
Yeah.
And as Juan reminded us, he played last in 2015, so he's fresh out of playing. And he's not only a Barcelona icon, he's a Spanish icon as far as football is concerned. And there's a lot of weight on his shoulders here as a young coach in the embryonic stages of his development in the job. And to have his first big assignment at Barcelona is going to be very, very tough. He has a head start because of who he is, and everyone likes him, but results at the end of the day.
That's not enough, yeah.
Let me tell you this. If he coaches like he plays, I have never in my life seen a midfield like that. I watched several games with him where he never lost the ball.
Yeah.
And nobody does not lose the ball.
Yeah.
He never lost the ball.
But how tolerant will he be of players who can't do
Losing
that?
the ball and who gives away the ball. All right, well, let's continue. The round got underway early on Friday with Cadiz playing away to Athletic Bilbao, and we have those highlights.
Cadiz get us underway. They're shooting from right to left in the first half of their 18. Uri Alvarez challenges for the header. Choco Lozano gets the better of him. It's swiped over to the left-hand side. Here's Pereira again. He looks for goal. This time he kept his effort down, and that bouncing effort is saved in installments by Unai Simon. In the La Liga Santander season, for a Cadiz side who don't tend to find the net too much. They might find one here. As this one is set up, it's snuck its way in. Salvi Sanchez scores for Cadiz early doors at San Mamés. And Salvi Sanchez decides to take a gamble. The strike first time looks if it takes the deflection even off the hand of the defender, which wrong foot to Unai Simon. It goes through his legs. And right footed towards goal. It's over the crossbar. It's put into the mixer. Struck away from Negrera, who launches a glare towards the referee, who obliges by blowing the whistle. Cadiz take victory for the second time this season.
This is how today's match impacted the table. Real Sociedad, they continue at the top of the table on 25 points. Real Madrid in second on 24. Sevilla also on 24. Then we have Atletico Madrid, defending champions, in fourth spot on 22 points. Athletic Club, they're on 18 in 8th position. Barca right beneath them on 16 points, the same as Valencia. Cadiz, they have, after today's match, 12 points, and then we look at 18, 19, 20, Deportivo Alaves, Levante, and Getafe.
A good result for Cadiz, that, because the result lifted them out of the relegation, and they were up against the top 10 team and got a result, so they'll be very happy with today's score.
Yeah, happy for them too. We just know that this weekend will be a big match for Barcelona, one that they'd have to win. Well, still to come on the SportsMax Zone, we preview the EPL, focusing on the Manchester derby, plus talk NBA action from Thursday night. And remember, schoolboy football in Jamaica returns next Friday, November 12th. You can enjoy matches from the 2019 season every day up to the start of the new campaign. Just go to the SportsMax YouTube page and watch daily at 3 p.m. in Jamaica, 4 p.m. in the rest of the Caribbean.